to the FasCat podcast. I'm your host, Frank Overton. Some call me the Big Cat, and I'm joined by Jackson Long in the house.
In the bubble, back in the bubble.
Right on. Good to have you here.
It's hopefully we'll still do a meditation podcast conversation. I have a lot of thoughts. So for those of you that don't know, I did a 10-day silent meditation retreat early July, which was probably the hardest 10 days of my life. Very difficult, but also very beneficial in many ways. But a lot of the time I was thinking about how it would impact cycling or myself as an athlete, and so it'd be cool to talk about it at some point in more depth. But
I would love to hear about that.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I spent a couple weeks in Idaho, and so we're also in a new studio.
New podcast set. Thank you very much.
We have the big screen.
43-inch.
Wow.
Yeah. For everyone out there watching, just take a gander how much this costs, because it blew my mind how cheap this is. Yeah. You want to take a guess?
Oh, $100?
A little bit more than that.
200?
$325.
That's not bad.
But like
really high def.
5 or 8 years ago, this would have been like $1,000.
Yeah.
Like the technology is just coming through. But the reason why I got this is because we want to show you guys stuff. And this is the audio version. But if you also visit our YouTube channel, we're gonna show you a bunch of screenshots, power data review. For this podcast, we're talking about the 6 weeks till cyclocross training plan, and we're gonna show you that plan, thus the screen. And for the audio listeners, we're gonna talk about the 10 components of cyclocross training specifically for these 6 weeks, because it's August 1st. Hashtag cyclocross is coming. Hashtag cyclocross is here. And we're going to talk about it. Cyclocross training is here. And we're going to talk about the 10 components of your training that you should be doing for the next 6 weeks, and not what you should be doing once the season begins, because then it changes. And then so we get this question a lot on our forum, or just what training plan I should do. And the answer is always 6 weeks till cyclocross. Not our intervals plan, not our off-season plan, not even the sweet spot. This is just the do or die, get down to business plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect timing, and I think a lot of people are starting to, maybe winding down the road season. Some of the last gravel races of the season are coming up, and starting to think about cross. And so you don't want to get left behind. I think we've done this for many other road seasons, gravel seasons. It's don't cram for the exam like I'm doing for Steamboat.
Yeah, cyclocross is unique, and the reason why we are podcasting about our 6 weeks till cyclocross plan is because universally throughout North America, and even if you're racing crossover in Europe, let's just assume the season starts in mid-September. And gravel or mountain biking or road throughout North America, it starts at various different times of the year. So there's never any one time of the year where you should be doing this. And here, the cyclocross training is unique in that the whole community, this is what we believe you should be doing now, 6 weeks till cyclocross. I mean, I guess you could go back to like roadies know they need to start their base the day after Thanksgiving. Or if you live in a colder weather climate, they need to begin your base like January 1st. But with cyclocrossers, it's like season's mid-September, work back 6 weeks. We're going to tell you what you want to be doing for training.
Cool. We have a couple of announcements before jumping into it.
Yeah. One, this is our new podcast studio.
Welcome.
Woohoo.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining. I'm doing a coaching intensive this weekend. You've heard his podcast about it before, and I have an athlete in town, and we are going to train our balls off for Steamboat Gravel coming up in a few weeks. He's in town. He comes from an area of the country where there's not a lot of gravel, and it's also at low altitude, so he's getting in a little bit of altitude training. And, we're going to go and do some long gravel rides.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's a good week for it.
It's going to be warm
Toasty.
And hot. I think it could be that way up in Steamboat Springs. It also could be nice and cool. Let's cross our fingers for nice and cool.
Yeah.
We're starting at 6:30 a.m. though.
It's going to be chilly.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember for Rebecca's Private Idaho last year, over Labor Day. Granted, it's a couple weeks later than Steamboat Gravel, but it was freezing at the start of each stage, like shivering.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
And you just got to be cold.
Yeah. You just got to be cold, and then it warms up quick. You know, mountains are interesting like that.
Yeah. For everyone on the start line of Steamboat, I don't want to see any vests or leg warmers. It just be cold for the first 30 minutes. Yeah. Because if you're out there for 8 hours, you got to plan for the way you want to be dressed for the majority of this. Just be shivery for the first 30 minutes. And arm warmers, okay, but it's like, where are you going to put them? You can put them down around your wrist. Maybe you can take them off in a feed zone. But I'm not even going to wear a base layer arm warmers. I'll probably regret that. But I think we'll be happy around 10:30. Review of the week. The review of the week comes from Chris, and the review of the week comes from our 6 weeks till cyclocross training plan. And if you're on the video, we have 21 almost 5-star reviews. We made a typo, and one guy gave us 4 stars for that mistake. Thank goodness it's not Yelp. But it comes from Chris, and Chris says about the 6 weeks till cyclocross training plan. And Chris, if you give us an email, we will extend to you a free month of our $39 coaching subscription for you. Oh, and by the way, we still have FTFP t-shirts for sale. Yeah, and that, always a good time to FTFP. But Chris says about the 6 weeks till cyclocross training plan, a quick way to whip you back into shape for the cyclocross season. The yoga is an added bonus, and it actually helps. Ta-da! Make no mistake, the Tabata interval work is challenging, but definitely made a difference for me, as I wouldn't have done it otherwise. Just make sure you do the skills work. Well, thank you, Chris, and good luck with your cyclocross season. And that you just mentioned 3 of the 10 components of this training plan. And we'll tell you about the other 7 as we get into the show.
Cool.
What other announcements do we have?
Forum, just always a good reminder. Forum is a really great place. It's kind of a cool ecosystem now. A lot of good conversations going on in there, from obviously training and cyclocross specific questions, of course, but nutrition. That's where we announce different podcast related things. That's where you can ask questions for future Q&A episodes. And if you want to upgrade, step it up, we have more advanced level premium subscriptions if you want to have like coaching support, training plan design. But it's open, the general forum is open to everyone. So it's a great place, forum.fastcatcoaching.com. You can get a lot out of it. Yeah,
I'd love to see anyone over there. And if you have any questions about training, come on over and write up a post, and most likely myself or Coach Jake or Isaiah Jackson's on there, Coach Brandon, we'll chime in and let you know what we think. Just this morning, an athlete was posting about working through race jitters, and he was saying he gets really nervous before the first cyclocross race of the season, and I was giving him a couple of suggestions, one of which could be a future podcast topic, but it is developing your race day routine.
Yeah. Huge.
What you eat in the morning, when you leave for the race, what you do once you get to the race, like go get your number, how much time you allow for that. Of course, there's your warm-up protocol, but it could be anything from how you recon the course and what you do on your trainer or out on the road. You can get pretty involved, but the point being, when you develop a race day routine, and those that you control your controllables, you're going to go through your routine, and that's going to help you manage your stress. And it's perfectly natural to be nervous on race day. It just means you care and that you have probably some time and effort invested in it. But there are things to do to help calm your nerves and to just kind of chillax.
And channel those nerves into race performance.
It's being a caged cheetah.
Yeah, exactly.
So when the gun goes off, you accelerate 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds, like a cheetah, maybe even faster.
Whoa.
All right. Join us over in our forum. And I think that is all for our announcements. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, everyone. 6 weeks to cyclocross. I'll read you a little copy from our training plan. If you're on the video version, take a look. I just went over to the 6 weeks till cyclocross training plan page, and here's kind of our philosophy. Well, you've done it now. You've committed to racing cyclocross, and you need to get your act in gear. Have no fear. Oh shit, 6 weeks of cyclocross training plan is here.
Woo.
Yeah. I actually had help from Coach Nadia write that.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a collaboration.
Good.
But I love that because it really embodies what a lot of athletes, the position they're in. They do road, they do mountain, they've been riding for fun, gravel, and you kind of get to that point where you're like, holy crap, I'm racing cross. I got to do all this stuff. And it's a little bit overwhelming, and this plan organizes it into an easy to follow, productive training plan. And because there are so many components to cyclocross, you're running, you're jumping, you need to do skills, you need to do strength work, you need to practice your race starts. This plan organizes it all for you, and that's what I want to show you all today. Okay, so I will go over to, this is the Training Peaks training calendar of 6 weeks to cyclocross, and what we're looking at is week 1. And first of all, there's a welcome to the FasCat training plan, and then right away you're like, what, you're doing a rest day on the first day? Let me talk about the rest days, because this is prevalent in just about all of our plans. But on the rest days, there's 3 things that we recommend you do. Number 1 is your foundations. That's Dr. Eric Goodman. That's your back routine. We podcasted it about the Steamboat podcast was that last week?
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah. So you open up this plan, you just click on the link. Dr. Eric Goodman recently took these down from YouTube and put them on the foundationtraining.com website. Probably just wants to get more traffic over there. This is a 12-minute routine. That's Dr. Eric Goodman. Follow this, and as he says at the very end of the video, do this every day, no back pain ever. And we recommend you do that every Monday and every other rest day, if not more. Cross back is a real thing. You want to strengthen your back so that when you're riding over rough terrain, the jackhammer that you are essentially sitting on does not prevent you from laying down the watts, especially in the last third or fourth of the race. What else is included in your rest day? The Revo skate in the hydrant and Yoga Glow. So if you just click open these links, it takes you over to a YouTube video, and these are our friends over at Revo Physiotherapy in Boulder, and that is Dane demonstrating the hydrant.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. So 30-second hold, and then do 10 reps each knee.
Pro tip. Before, if you want to take it to the next level, pro tip is to do that as part of your warm-up routine before racing or training, because just getting the glutes and the hip flexors activated.
Glute activation.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think I recall them saying that. This could be a part of your warm-up routine on race day.
Because they also have, I think it's playing actually right now, but they have a full body warm-up and post-ride mobility for the cyclist.
Yeah. You guys, our friends over Dane and Matt, as you see here, Matt, Dane, these guys are money. I have done a cyclocross group training session over there with Coach Brandon and a few of our other friends. Go over there and visit them. They know what they're doing.
They're awesome.
They'll whip you into shape. And but if you're from out of town or something like that, if you just do these 2 exercises in FTFP, this plan, it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
So hydrant, skate, and then let's not forget your yoga. And I have curated a special class from our partner, Yoga Glow, of which you get a 60-day free membership when you buy a training plan from us. And I curated this class from Darren, and the title of this class is Off the Bike and Onto the Mat. And it's a 30-minute level 1 routine, and I have said before, yoga is kind of like fancy stretching, And in it is, and I don't want to denigrate it because there's a lot of other benefits to it, but for the person brand new to yoga, we're telling you to stretch, but this is advanced level stretching. So do your yoga, and then you can expand from there. I think it'll help you sleep better and manage stress, among a bunch of other things. And we can podcast about that when we talk about your meditation retreat. Okay, well, we started off with the recovery day, but this is something you're going to do twice a week. In this plan, no matter if you're a professional or a beginner, you're going to take 2 off days per week. So in the course of 6 weeks, this is 12 of the days. Seems like a lot, but the other part of the training is really hard. You're going to be given it, and you need to rest. If you don't rest, you don't absorb the training and benefit and get faster from it. So take your recovery days, and these are your recovery modalities. Moving on, let's go to the first day of the plan. We're just going to get right to the nuts and bolts of it. 30-30s, over-unders. This is a full gas workout, and this is the intermediate level. And the intermediate level is for the athlete that can train 8 to 12 hours per week. In the advanced level, what you would see is not necessarily more time. You're going to see more sets and reps of the interval, because if you're 12 to 16 hours per week, the presumption is you might be under 35 years of age and able to handle more training, higher training load, more, and just you recover better. Yeah, more intensity. So you just open up this workout. If you look at this blue bar here, this is the Training Peaks workout builder. This is what everyone exports to their smart trainer. I don't recommend that for this workout because there is a skills component. These blue bars, what I'm asking athletes to do is a 30-second interval. The first 15 seconds is absolutely sprint out of the saddle, much like what you're going to do out of every single corner and out of any slow section in a cyclocross race. But then settle for 10 seconds at 150% of your FTP. That would be back in the saddle. And then to really throttle home the effort, get back out of the saddle for the final 5 seconds, also at 20 seconds, and just give it. And then 30 seconds of recovery. And if you have any questions about that workout, we provide you an additional resource. Click this link to go to this training tip, and you can read all about this cyclocross interval workout for the preseason. And this is a core workout of the training program, so that's why we have a training a training tip for it. If you look at this picture on the screen, this is power data from this workout. This is the 30-second sprint. This is the 10-second settle, and this is the 30 seconds out of the saddle. This is actually a 2.5 minuter, but it's the same over-under concept. Moving on. Oh, you're not done yet on Tuesday.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah. So cyclocross is all about quick, bursty efforts. And because this is preseason, after you do these 30-30s, I want you to come back home and do 60 plyometrics. What's a plyometric? It's basically a jump. One jump equals one plyometric. 60 touches equals 60 plyometrics. We include a PDF for you to follow, and we give you 3 plyometric examples. For those of you who are super motivated and want to go get like a box jump, look for Rogue Fitness. They are the padded box jumps so that you don't skin up your shin if you miss a jump and have to go to the emergency room. We've had a few athletes that were on the right angles, and if you miss, it's bad for the shin. But if these Rogue Fitness,
soft ones,
they're soft foam. They're firm. You can jump up, off and on, but on the edges, they're forgiving for your shin. Yeah.
So the plyometric stuff is just to help build that fast burst kind of type 2 muscle fiber activation, or is it technique specifically directed for what is demanding in a cyclocross race?
Yeah, both. So when you think about cyclocross, you're basically, when you get off the bike, you're running and jumping. So the plyometrics, they're going to help you jump over the barrier and, other acrobatics that you may need to be able to do in a cross race when you're off the bike. And so then when you also combine plyometrics with explosive anaerobic work, like sprint work, which is what all, road, that's what we have all of our road, mountain bike cyclists, especially if you're a criterium racer, for example. In the off season, you're going to do sprint training followed by plyometrics. So you're going to do strength training followed by sprint practice followed by plyometrics. So it's kind of a combo. And it also helps with your strength and agility. To go off and just run up the stairs for the first time in a cross race is going to be a rude awakening for your body. But to have done 60 plyometrics or just done plyometric training during the week, you'll be all set. And so really, it doesn't have to be complicated. We break up these 60 plyometrics into 6 sets, 10 reps per set. Do 2 sets of squat jumps, 2 sets of box jumps, and 2 sets of split squat jumps. And those are found in how to do those in this document. It's super easy. I mean, you could, if you have a park bench, you could do them on your park bench. If you have a retaining wall or a log or a step, you can do them on there. And what we put these after your 30-30s, because the way we envision that, you get done with the workout, or maybe you're on your way cooling down, you just stop, you put your bike down, you do your 60 plyos, and then you ride home. Or maybe your box jump is in your garage, so you set your bike up against a wall, bam, knock out your plyos. We're talking 5 minutes of time here, but really important. And that's the other thing. This looks like a lot on the training plan, but in reality, it's pretty quick, and you can do it. Yeah. So it's time crunched friendly. Moving on to Wednesday, you're going to be pretty whacked from Tuesday. If you did a good job on Tuesday, your legs should be barking on Wednesday. And we throw you a bone here. You're only going to do an hour and a half ride, and you're going to work on your race starts. So go over to your friendly cyclocross neighborhood park, draw up your imaginary start line, put your foot down, practice clipping in and going hard off the line. And we get into giving you some tips about race starts. And if you look at this blue bar here, this is your warm-up. If you look at this blue bar, we kind of mimic what goes down from a power-based perspective in the first lap of a cyclocross race. And this is what we want you to practice. So if you have a Wednesday Worlds, this is what you're going to practice. If you have a Wednesday training race, this is what you're going to practice. If you don't have anything, if it's you, yourself, and I, go to the park, put a foot down, practice clipping in, give it for 15 seconds. And then once you've clipped in and sprinted, then you're going to go hard for 45 seconds in zone 6. And then you're going to keep going for another 2 minutes in your zone 5. And then you're going to keep going for another 4 minutes in your zone 4. And when you do all that together, that's going to feel like the first lap of a cyclocross race. And when done regularly, you're going to have a much better first lap race on race day. Okay, moving on.
Some more skills.
We're doing a lot. Usually each day you're doing a workout and a skill. And so what I forgot to mention is, when you go to your friendly neighborhood park and work on your race starts, you're also going to do cyclocross skills. And on this particular day, you're going to work on this is the 101, your dismounts, remounts. I remember we were talking with Coach Brandon, and you were worried that you wouldn't be able to do it. But this is what we want you to practice 10,000 times. This is the 10,000 hours. If you do 10,000 dismounts, remounts. We have a cyclocross training tip from Bike Radar that I did with my friend Ben Delaney a number of years ago. So click open that link, go to the website, and there's a picture of Jeremy and I doing dismounts and remounts, and there's like 22 pictures that walks you through you know, how to.
Oh
yeah, there's the ads.
The dog photo shirts.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
Oh yeah, this is from Cyclocross camp that we did with Jeremy.
Sweet barriers.
Yeah, those are the cheetah barriers.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
This took a lot of time and effort, and unfortunately, when we did our last Cyclocross camp out at the Hops and Heifers farm, they gave up the ghost. They got like covered in mud. And, yeah. Anyway, maybe we'll resurrect those one of these days, the cheetah barriers. Yeah, so work on your dismounts and remounts while you're working on your cyclocross race starts on this particular day, on Wednesday. And then moving on Thursday, you're going to do your first cyclocross run workout. And I like to have athletes do their run workouts after they've already done their bike workouts, when they're already tired. And then I like to have athletes do their cyclocross run workouts the day before a rest day, not a hard bike day, because generally, by and large, exception of you, we're not runners. And so when you run for the first time, we're wicked sore, and then we can't pedal the next day. But the way we have this plan organized is you do a run workout on Thursday, and then you have a recovery day Friday, and then so you're still good to go for your hard workout on the weekend. And if you open up this workout, it's not jogging. We're not telling you to go out for 10 or 20 minutes. What we're saying is to go over to your hills. It only takes about 10 minutes. Go over to your friendly hill, staircase, something, and run at about 85% up that hill 5 times. Ideally, the hill's about 20 seconds, but if it's 15 or 30, that's fine. Actually, if it's 30, just stop after 20, turn around, walk down, and then do it again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So cyclocross run workout, number one is you can do that no bike. But then what we do, the way this plan is organized, we'll progress cyclocross run workout number 2. And that's where you're going to do 2 sets of 5x20, but you're going to do it with your bike. And we'll also give you some footwork drills from, you guys got to see this. This is Coach, let's see, I forgot his first name. This guy's great. I think it's Coach Carl. This is a football ad.
Favorite ladder drills for quicker footwork.
Coach King.
That's one
step. Yeah. So he walks you through ladder drills. If you want to go to the sporting goods store and get like a roll-out ladder, it's really good to work on your footwork. And one of the things you hear about cyclocross when you're running is a lot of people take big, giant galloping steps, but it's actually more efficient to go just tap, tap, tap. Little small steps is more efficient over the course of an hour. So we'll get you to work on that.
How much are you actually running in a typical cyclocross race?
3 to 5%, if that. It's very short, and that's in the United States. If you're listening and you're in Europe, it can be much, much longer.
Unless it was Cyclocross Nationals of 2018.
Yeah, 2018, where it was 40% or more, just due to the mud. Yeah, in the typical, I'll just speak from Colorado cyclocross, but it is minuscule, and that's why we don't emphasize as much running in these training plans. Even if you're in the Northeast, which tends to have the most crossiest conditions compared to like Belgium, they're gonna, like a race like Gloucester is 5%. There's a long sand run along the beach up a hill, and that's where you'd want to do more of these workouts. But a lot of, if you actually you go to this workout, we include a training tip that we wrote. If you read this training tip here, you'll see where we're coming from, that there's not as much running in cross as you think, and it's more sprinting and jumping. Yeah. So
specific kind of running.
That's right. You're never going to break out into a jog in a cross race unless, once in a while there'll be like a long sand run where you have to jog, but generally it's high speed, jump off the bike, it's run, jump for like 10 seconds, back on your bike. Yep. And 10 seconds would be a long run. I think like if you go over to the Valmont Bike Park and run up the 5280 stairs, that's less than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It just feels like a minute.
Yeah.
But you're going to do that. If you do 7-lap race, you'll do that 7 times, and it wears on you. So you got to practice that. But that's why you see these cyclocross run workouts designed the way they are. I mean, 5 by 20 and 20 seconds, that's generous. That's way more length of time than you're going to be off the bike. But yeah, it would be silly just to say do 8-second sprints. And there's the cat. Okay, so you've done your race starts, you've done your skills, now you're back to Friday, and this is like your spa day, you know, foundations, yoga, Revo. If you're really into it, this would be a day to get a massage and maybe
take a
nap, get an extra hour of sleep, do your nutrition, food prep, float tank, cryo. Yeah.
Jeez.
Do it all. I mean, if you're really into it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't say you have to do that. These are just things that we recommend if you want to up-level your plan.
It's not even in the shot.
I know, right? The cat just laid down in front of the computer. Okay. The first Saturday of the 6 weeks of cyclocross training plan is a little unique in that we ask you to do a field test. Very important to set the mark. Not so much important for like your sweet spot or just determining what your FTP. You just want to answer the question, you are this fast on the 5th day of this, the 6th day of this plan. And what we're going to do, if you look at the training plan all the way down, you're going to train really hard. And then after 6 weeks, you're going to, I don't think we have a second field test in this plan. You'll probably get some data along the way, but it's just important. I mean, if you're training with a power meter, do this test. You got to do your zones. If you've already got your zones, you probably could get out of this. You just need to do a long ride. This would be a TSS ride 194, and it's not just a field test. It is also some 1-minuters, 4x1, if you see that. So do a 20-minute effort, go really hard. Even if you don't need to update your zones, you should just go ahead and do the test because it's good hard training. And then recover for 30 minutes in zone 2 that you see here, and then do your anaerobic 1-minuters. And that's 1 minute on, 2 minutes off, full gas, 115% of your FTP or higher. Anaerobic training is one of the key foundations of cyclocross. You're rarely on the gas for more than 20 or 30 seconds at a time. Really hard for 15 seconds, then you do a technical skill for 5 seconds. Go really hard again. So the power is like up, down, up, down, up, down. So you work on your anaerobic portion of your training. Final day of the week is a 3 hours endurance. You can do that in a hard group ride, or you can do a TSS ride, 150 TSS that you see here. So a lot of room for flexibility, but we want you on the bike for 3 hours. Don't come home without it. 150 TSS, that's the American Express. Who remembers the American Express commercial from the 70s?
I don't.
American Express, don't come home without it.
Yeah.
That was a famous marketing one of the most successful advertising campaigns. It's like Nike and all that. But 150 TSS, don't come home without it.
Oh.
Yeah. Variety of things. You want a mountain bike? Go mountain bike. You need some more time on your cyclocross bike? Go ride the cyclocross bike. You want to do some gravel in the mountains on your cyclocross bike? Go for it. Which brings me to a question. A lot of people ask, what bike should I ride? And generally, I think with 6 weeks to go till cyclocross, you want to be on your cyclocross bike the majority of the time. Especially on these skills days, you need to become one with your bike to handle it the best. And so do the cyclocross bike for the most part. And then we'll get another question is, what if your cyclocross bike doesn't have a power meter but your other bike does? Yeah, you could. So do the test on your other bike and then get back on the cross bike here. But you should be on your cyclocross bike 75% at least.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were talking to Coach Brandon about that, just because, that specificity. I mean, you want to make sure. I mean, this is also a great time, the first couple of weeks of this, maybe get a bike fit on your cross bike, get your pit bike if you're, legit, get, your pit bike with your race bike, identical in terms of fit, measurements. But again, you want to practice how you want to play.
That's right. Yeah. Also glue up your tubulars now.
Yeah.
Don't wait until September.
Night before the race.
My friend and good mechanic, Zach Edwards, just grammed last night about gluing up tubulars, and he was commenting on how it's funny people were getting aggro gluing up their mud tubulars when it's going to be like a dirt crit for the first part of our season. Not the case, though, if you live in the Northeast or a different part of the country. But point is, get all your equipment dialed in the next 6 weeks so that you've taken care of that. And just like our gravel simulation rides, you've been able to put your equipment through the paces and you're not testing it out for the first time on the first race. Okay, moving on to the second week of the plan. Mondays stay the same as always. And Tuesdays, we're going to have you work on your standing starts. This is where you do a track stand, 0 cadence, 0 speed, and you give it for 15 seconds. This is your acceleratory power, which is so important in cyclocross. If you think
get that whole shot.
Get the whole shot. This helps you work on your start, your pop off the line. If you think about any part of the cyclocross course where the course designer causes you to slow way down, and then you negotiate that turn or corner or technical feature, and then you have to speed way up, these standing starts help you work on that. And because we love you so much, we're going to give you some plyometrics afterwards. And we're not just doing 60 like we did the week before. Now you're ready for more. You can do 90. Just because we love you. And same, you'll be like, where'd the 30-30s go? Well, look here. They're on Wednesday. So there you go. 4 sets of 4x15 looks like a lot on paper, but when you add it up, it's 4 minutes of intensity, and you can handle it. You'll still be able to throw down big watts on Wednesday for the 30-30s, and then consequently, you'll still be able to work on your race starts on Thursday. And because we believe in a progressive program, you're going to do 2 hot laps, essentially. So this is an important part to go over, but imagine, like, Jackson, you wanted to work on your cyclocross and you were thinking about where to go. We're going to recommend a neighborhood park with grass, maybe a volleyball pit. So let's take North Boulder Park, for example. Doesn't have a volleyball pit, but there's lots of grass. There's trees, which you can corner around. And what you want to do is just go over there and make up your own mock cyclocross course. Maybe you've done a local cyclocross race where you can go back over to, and you can kind of mimic that cyclocross course. So you can do that. But if you don't, just go over to a park, asphalt or the parking lot or the sidewalk can be like your race start. And then you make a turn. You can bring over your portable barriers, your PVC pipes, your cross props, set those up. That's where you can do your dismounts and remounts. Ideally, there's a hill, and you can put a cross prop or a barrier at the bottom. There may be like a woodsy section where you use a log or a ditch. It's just anything. Get super creative, have fun with it. But the point is, you're mapping out a 4 to 6 minute lap. And here in this workout, we're asking you to just go ballistic, full gas, twice on your lap. Take like a 5 or 10 minute break in between your laps, because the first lap of the cyclocross race is one of the most important ones, and you want to be on it. You want to be able to just deliver there. And then when you're done with that, because you're at your mock cyclocross course, we have a cyclocross run workout for you. And this is run workout number 2. So you're just basically going to do double what you did in cyclocross run workout number 1. And there you are. And then we have you do that run workout on Thursday because it is before a rest day. So you take your rest day on Friday, and then you'll still be recovered on Saturday for what I would call, this is a pretty hardcore anaerobic workout. 2 sets of 4 reps, 1 minuters, full gas, working on your anaerobic capacity, which if you had to do one workout for cyclocross, I would say it'd be 1 minuters. And here we suggest an intermediate level, 2 sets, 4x1 on, 1 off. You can see that here. and just go as hard as you can. A lot of people ask, do I do them on flat or on a hill? Ideally I'd say do them on a 1.5-2% grade hill, so it's not so steep that it's non-specific to cross, but it's just steep enough that you can really make a ton of watts. Yeah. And that's your Saturday. And then the 3 hours endurance hard group ride, or don't come home without it 150 TSS ride.
And so this plan is very specific for people that are very focused and motivated for purely cyclocross, right? Because
yes,
I was going to ask, what if you're still racing road or gravel stuff at this time of year? How does that work? Like you're basically switching full cyclocross mode at this time of year if you're like a real cross person.
This plan is for the athlete that is almost, if not 100%, pretty darn close to 100% focused on cyclocross. They've already stopped their mountain bike season or road season or gravel season to take a little break like in July or something. And then now they're like, all right, I'm 100% cross. And if you do have an event, head on over to our forum, ask the question. I have this one more race left, and then we'll help you answer. And Brandon even podcasted about this. What should I do? He has a secret training tip, and it's called To Race or Not to Race. If you go to FasCatCoaching.com, we should actually put that in the show notes. But the question is to race or not to race. And so this plan, if you get into week 4 on Wednesday, you see here, we actually have a training race or ride. And the reason is this is like, to flush out any weaknesses, bike handling skills that you need to work on, tubulars that are going to come unglued or anything. This is to flush it out. But a lot of people may have one last mountain bike race. And if you are in Colorado, one of the last great mountain bike races we have is the Tipperary Creek Cross Country. And traditionally, that is like the third weekend in August. And that's a great one to do for crossers in place of your 3-hour hard group ride.
Just tuning up a little bit, getting a little extra.
Yeah. You're generally going to go harder in a race with a number on your back than you will with intervals by yourself listening to tunes or this podcast. So hopefully you're listening to like something super upbeat and fast.
Some Norwegian death metal.
Yeah. I was going to say Rage Against the Machine. Anyway, that's a really good question. And so this is the benefit of our forum. But if you don't have anything, don't race just to race, but go read Brandon's To Race or Not to Race. Our recommendation is race, but use it for training. Don't put too much. Don't like schedule a rest week beforehand so you have a good race.
More important to FTFP.
That's right.
Than to change the whole program.
Like week 3, look at this. Day 20 is VO2 max intervals. Do that plan. But if there's a mountain bike race or, criterium racing is very good for cyclocrossers. I've used criterium racing. It's very bursty. It's incredibly sprinty. It's 1 hour, so it's duration specific. So if you're planning on doing a cyclocross race campaign and you need more motivation than these 2-minuters will give you, and there's a great crit nearby, you have options. Don't get in the car and drive 4 hours across the state to do a crit. That would be not okay. So that would be just an example of FTFP. But to your question, let's just get into week 3. So week 2. Now weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6 are going to more or less follow the same pattern. You're just progressing in the amount of interval work, plyometric work, and just the overall training load. So week 3 is, I like for athletes to get in a rhythm and to have regularity. So, Thursdays look the same as there's Thursdays, there's, plyometric Tuesdays and so forth. So
kind of know what to expect a little bit.
It helps athletes get in a rhythm with their body and their work week and family and life. And it creates a situation where you can execute the training with regularity better than you could if you're like, every day is different and everyone's like thrown into a thing. So Mondays are always going to be your recovery day. Tuesdays are going to be your standing starts. Wednesdays are going to be your skills and your run workouts. And then week 3, we know your legs are going to be tired, so it's a zone 2 ride, but we just want you to do, here we have you doing a sprint every 10 minutes inside of an hour and a half ride after you warm up. And that takes you to your rest day on Friday, the VO2s, and then Sundays, your American Express 150 TSS. And then in week 4, it's more of the same, but there's a little bit of progression. I'll point it out to you. Race starts, and then here you're going to do your run workout on Tuesday. The reason being is maybe by now we're into late August and your local cyclocross scene's got a training race. Really good to do a training race because they're fun and you're usually shorter than a full hour, and you're going to go like really hard, and you're just going to work on putting it all together, which is really important because some people are really good at dismounting and remounting, but they may not be good on their cornering. Others are like crazy fit and they can ride super fast in a straight line, but they haven't done a corner since the last cyclocross season. That reminds me of that funny meme. Have you seen that thing on the internet of like the first crit of the season and everyone's been on Zwift all winter? And there's like the first corner and everyone comes
crashes.
to the corner and everyone crashes. I don't mean to laugh at a crash, but it's like you got to get off Zwift, off your trainer, and you got to do these skills. And so, and hopefully you've been doing that on your own by following the plan. But here now we're going to put a number on your back, and you're going to do it with people side by side, and it's an up level moment for your training. Super helpful. And because we know that not everyone may have a training race, we give you a substitute workout here. And this is the tried and true, the 30-30s over unders. So one or the other, but if you have a training race or a Wednesday Worlds, do that. And so what's Wednesday Worlds? That's where you get your buddies together. You go to your North Boulder Park, your mock cyclocross course, and you basically just, everyone lines up on the start line and you say, let's race for 4 laps. And so you just give it for 4 laps, for example. That's like 20 minutes, give or take. And you may take like 10 minutes to heckle each other and recover. And then you like do it again. You may like go backwards on the course or change the course up a little bit. And that's a Wednesday Worlds, and that's a highly effective cyclocross training day over top of the 30-30s. But if you don't have any friends or people to train with, I'm kidding. I know everyone that does cyclocross has friends. But if you're by yourself, do the 30-30s. Part of the progression on Thursday, on this particular week 4, day 25, this is Cyclocross Skills Day, but now we want to add some sweet spot to that skill. So go back to your cyclocross course, and instead of riding easy, now we're actually saying, let's step on the gas a little bit, sweet spot style, 84 to 97%, and ride pretty hard. And so now you're working on your skills at speed, and you're kind of putting it all together, hopefully having a really good time, which takes you to your recovery day on Friday. And then, dun, 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 the Tabatas. This is Saturday. Tabatas is the hardest workout there is. Diabolical. However, it pays the greatest dividends. For the equivalent investment pays the greatest dividends. So, you got to go hard. You're doing 20 seconds on at 170% of your FTP, only 10 seconds off, 8 reps, and you'll be successful if you barely complete this workout. For those of you doing your Tabatas for the first time, if you don't complete all 3 sets, that's okay. We want you to try and fail rather than knock this out of the park. No one knocks it out of the park their first time. If I went out and did this workout right now, I'd guarantee fail. Could get through 1 set. Point is this is in week 4. You've already done a lot of anaerobic work that prepares you to have done this. So that's why we say FTFP. The workouts you've done beforehand are going to set you up for success here. And so we'll just open this up. If you're wondering why you're doing Tabatas, click this training link. Go to our website and read about Tabata intervals. We'll explain it all here. But if you just want to FTFP, it's 3 sets, 8 reps of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Key part of Tabatas is 170%. Don't do 220 for the first 3 and then limp home at 110. The best adaptation comes at 170%. And the first 2 or 3 actually feel not that bad. 3 and 4 feel pretty hard. 6 and 7, you're like, holy crap. And then 7 or 8, you literally have to bite the stem and bear down and almost will yourself to do it. And you have to almost stare at that power meter to keep your power up. And if you don't have a power meter, just keep the hammer down. And the best place to do Tabatas is on flat terrain. You don't want to do them on a hill because your cadence will mess you all up. So do them on cyclocross specific terrain. Honestly, don't do them on grass. Don't do them on technical terrain. This is just a raw physiological power workout. Left hand canyon is great if you're in Boulder, but any flat terrain will suffice. This is a cry in the dojo to laugh on the battlefield workout. And because we love you, we only have you do, let's see, 1, 2, 3 Tabata workouts, 2 of which there's a substitute training race. So if you have a training race, you may just do 1 Tabata workout per of this plan. If you go on to do future FasCat cyclocross training plans like cyclocross intervals and race and recover, you'll see a lot of Tabatas in there because they do produce such a great return on your investment. Okay, week 5. How are we doing on time? How long have we been podcasting?
We're almost there. 52 minutes.
Okay, so we're in week 5. Guess what week 5 is? A regeneration week. You've been training really hard for the last 4 weeks. Now it's time to take a rest. And one of the other reasons why you're taking a rest, a lot of you listening will probably be like, what about the 3 weeks on, 1 week off? Well, with cyclocross training, it's a little bit different. And the way we designed this regeneration week in is because it's leading into your first race. Ooh. Yeah, and we're calling this a training race. This is not like the real start of the season. Like if you're in the Midwest, this is not Jingle Cross. This is your local race, and we're going to call this a training race. You will still be very well prepared for this, but you will take a regeneration week. Even if you don't have a race to do, take the rest week anyway, honor it. Let that training soak in, absorb, get faster, and if you don't have a race on Saturday, you have your classic 1-minuters anaerobic capacity. And because we believe in a progressive overload, you're going to do 2 sets of 5 by 1 minute on, not 4, because you're ready, because you can handle more. And then if you've raced the day before, we know you're going to be a little bit tired, so it's just a good old-fashioned Zone 2 endurance ride. Smell the roses. So week 6, this is the final week of the plan. Skills on Tuesday, cyclocross run workout number 4, training race or Tabatas on Wednesday, and then rest day Thursday, because this is the first race. So this would be like Jingle Cross. I think at Boulder, the first race is Harlow Platts. Anywhere else in the country, just line this plan up so that on day 41 of this plan, this is your first race. And this is the one you care about. This is the official start of the season. This is not the start of the race series, the weekly race series. This is the start of the season. So it's a short week, and this gets into like how you organize your race weeks, but it's going to be recovery day Monday, and then 2 days before the race, and then the day before the race, you do your cyclocross openers. and then you do your race. And we give you a cyclocross specific warm-up to do before the race. And, not everyone has the same race schedule. So if you don't have a race, we give you the diabolical tabatas to do in place of a race. And even still, the tabatas will probably be easier than a cyclocross race. And last day of the plan is just a good old-fashioned endurance ride, 2 hours. A lot of people are like chomping at the bit. They're so motivated, and they want to do like big, long rides. If you do a good race, you go as hard as you can, you leave it all out there, I think 2 hours is just right on Sunday. So that is our 6 weeks of cyclocross training plan. And if you have any questions, head over to our forum. We'll put this podcast up. You can ask questions about what training plan should I do. But if it's anywhere near the 6 weeks to your cyclocross season, this is going to be the answer. And if you've already got this plan, or if you're wondering what to do after this 6 weeks to cyclocross plan, the answer is cyclocross intervals. And in this plan, cyclocross intervals removes the plyometrics, and it removes just the heavier training load. It factors in that you're going to be racing on the weekends. And the reason why we take out the run training is because you're going to get run training from the racing. And also maybe from the Wednesday nighters if you have that. So it's a little bit different, and the training load is lighter. You don't need to go into a race and recover mode yet because the season is so new and fresh. That would come after this 6 weeks. That's when you'd go into a race and recover mode, say for like October and November. And by then, you're going to be giving more priority to your recovery, and then harder intervals midweek, and then racing harder on the weekend.
Cool.
So I talked a lot there. Do you have any questions, Jackson?
I mean, I'm such a cyclocross noob that a lot of this is, kind of like a foreign language, but I mean, it makes sense. I think it's so important, just all of these, kind of 10 components that we talked about, the skills and the plyometrics and, the tabatas, how they all kind of work together. I think it's, the cyclocross is such a dynamic and technique-driven discipline of cycling that I think you just sort of have to follow some sort of structure with the skills and everything, and be really diligent about that, because you can't really fake it and just get to that first race of the season without doing a lot of this stuff. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, there's so much to cyclocross that, one of these workouts is not going to make or break your season, but putting all this together is going to lead to a lot of success. And this just goes back to those 21 reviews of 21 almost 5-star reviews of where athletes are just like, could really tell a difference. This training plan was the intensity and the structure I need. Read the reviews, see what real life, masters, 30 plus, Cat 3, 4 cyclocross racers had to say about it.
Yeah.
And, work on your skills, like everyone says.
Cool. Well, yeah, good luck to everyone.
Yeah.
Get started.
It's funny, as I talk about this, I realized how much I used to be into cyclocross, and I still am. And and overall, this goes over to the overall theme of our podcast. You can't do everything.
Right.
And especially as you get older and a master cyclist, I can't do crusher and steamboat and do cyclocross. We talked about life balance, after, like in seasons before, when I've had decided to really give it for cyclocross, I have not done anything all summer other than train with focusing on cyclocross, and no travel, no, super epic week, no moving houses, excuse me. And so by the time you get to September, you haven't raced all year, and you're just like, rah.
Yeah.
Now, but this year, if you followed along our podcast, I've gotten up for, we did the Haute Route back in May, and then I had to skip Crusher this year, but I still, that was like a whole series of life events, and then now we're gearing up for Steamboat. It's really hard for athletes to do it all, and so we see this a lot. Like people are like doing a whole road season or a whole mountain bike season, and then they want to do a whole cyclocross season. It's like, wow, you're racing almost every weekend for 8 months, and it's like not even the pros do that. And so the athletes that focus and just do cyclocross, generally the ones that are going strong in November and December, you can still have a great September, October coming off of gravel or mountain biking or road. You can still go strong if you like stop racing road or mountain or gravel like in June. I think in Brandon's To Race or Not to Race, he talks about that, maybe taking, the last race. And the way I got into gravel is because I chose Crusher as a motivation to hold, to get me to do a bunch of training in July. But after I got done with the Crusher, I would have 8 weeks of focused, dedicated cyclocross training, be it before the season. And that's what I did. I did that for like 5 or 6 years, and then I just decided to do more gravel. Yeah. Or, I did cyclocross
it changes, it ebbs and flows. There's different things that are motivating, and you just have to kind of listen to that. But yeah, I think it's in today's world, it's easy to think we can just pile everything onto the plate and without any sort of issue. But when it comes to the reality of that, the rubber band is going to snap eventually, and you're going to crash and burn.
Can't burn the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
So what not to do is race every single weekend, May, June, and July, August, and then hop right into cyclocross season. You can do that if you plan to stop racing cyclocross in October.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just, don't race too much. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Hope you liked our new podcast set. Leave us a comment, and if you can see this or not. Yeah. We're going to be working on the video and doing some post-production editing to try to bring you the best video quality. And next week, we're going to podcast about the Rebecca's Private Idaho.
My favorite.
Yeah.
I have a lot of insights. I've done that race a lot of times.
I'm going to pepper you with all the questions. And so Jackson's raced it, and you rode it, last week?
Yep.
And so kind of like what we did for the Steamboat Gravel podcast is what we're going to do for Rebecca's, plus draw on your 4 years of racing experience. And if you have any questions about that coming up, hit us up in the forum as always. And we'll see you same time in Bat Channel.
All right. Adios.
Peace.